Hello, friends. This is Suzanne Culberg. Welcome to episode 215 of the Nope Coach podcast, Building Boundaries Bundle. I have created a new product called the Building Boundaries Bundle, and I've launched it at this time of year in December, coming into, bringing it home, finishing 2023. Now more than ever, I think having solid boundaries, having an ability to communicate what your needs are, what your standards are, what you're available for, and what you are not available for is more important than ever. As we become more connected through social media and platforms such as this podcast, YouTube, being able to connect with people all around the world is such a gift. However, without strong, solid boundaries, it can also be a drain. We've become accustomed to instant responses. Like I was thinking the other day, I was saying to my children something or other about a pen pal, and they both gave me a really blank look. And I was like, a pen pal. And then I realized they would have no concept for what a pen pal was. Why would they? In current times, you can email, text, WhatsApp, you can contact anyone around the world instantly. There isn't the disconnect that there once was. So things can be exhausting. And it's up to us to decide what we're available for, what we're not available for, how we're going to communicate that to others, and how we're going to uphold that. And also boundaries with ourselves. Because I don't know about any of you, but my biggest self-boundary is not rolling out of bed and grabbing my phone and checking my email notifications. Like, I have to have strong personal boundaries that my social media isn't touched until my self-care, basic care needs are done first. So this bundle, it's a self-study, which means when you purchase it, you get instant access. You can watch it. And I encourage you, I know what it's like to listen to a podcast such as this, feel really inspired, and then forget about it and go about your day, and then listen to the next episode and feel really inspired. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a difference between the little dopamine hit you get by, oh, that sounds great, and then actually pausing and actioning it. And that being said, so with the Boundaries Bundle, there's also an option to book a one-to-one coaching session with me. It's an additional cost, and it's explained clearly on the sales page. There's a little thing down the bottom where you can purchase that at a discounted price. Because if you're anything like me, you buy a self-study course, think this sounds cool, and then it gathers digital dust on your hard drive as the next shiny thing jumps in. So if you buy the bundle and also the one-on-one call, what I recommend you do is schedule it. So give yourself 1 week, 2 max, schedule that call. So then you have the accountability to work through the self-study course in your own time, and then we can coach about it. Because having a external standard, like at school, deadlines for assignments, it had to be done, or as much as it's submitted on the time, because it was the due date. So by buying that bundle and then buying the one-on-one session upgrade, you can give yourself a deadline to work through it. And I talk about this heaps in the bundle, but like a preview, a snapshot, often we can read a book, listen to a podcast, get a training from somebody who teaches us a skill, such as boundaries. And the best way to never, ever set a boundary is to read about boundaries, listen about boundaries, watch videos about other people's boundaries. The best way to set it is to actually do it, and to give yourself grace that if you've never actually set a boundary before, although you understand it conceptually and it sounds really, really easy, when you first start to articulate, it gets awkward, and that is okay. But you can't get good at what you don't do. And so if you compare setting boundaries to working out your physical body, if we were all to go to the gym together and many of us are couch potatoes, we're not going to go and start picking up the 20-kilo dumbbells and trying to curl them. That's the first way to result in injury. Instead, we're going to go down to the lower end, 1 or 2 pounds or kilos, however you measure. Start with that, get the reps up, and then increase them. So the advantage of this bundle being self-study, you can watch it through, action it, watch it through again, action it, and basically build your ability to set boundaries. Choose one area of your life where you want to start with. Like, I recommend starting with people who don't know you well yet, acquaintances, casual people. Build that boundary muscle and then begin to set it with family and colleagues and workplaces. Like, build your way up to that, because life is so very different when you're not always worried that you're walking on eggshells, where you're not always mindful of, what you have to say. You can just be you. I am one of the most socially awkward people that I know, and I used to really get down on that. And now I record a daily podcast with no editing, no scripting, and I just, allow it to come, and I make it into my superpower. Your boundaries can be like that too. The very first time, or maybe even the first few dozen times, you actually say no and mean it, or say no and hold your ground, or actually ask for what you want, it's going to feel uncomfortable. The same way that when you start going to the gym and you work out your physical body, it feels uncomfortable. Sometimes you're going to have, DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. Sometimes you're going to have a vulnerability hangover. You're going to be like, oh, I can't believe that I asked for it like that, or I can't believe I said it like that. But the thing is, you're not alone. So many of us, people pleasers or ex-people pleasers, exploding doormats, feel drained, so drained emotionally from having to be mindful of what we say and how we say it. And I don't want to be too much, and I don't want to ask for too much, and I don't want to be demanding, or I don't want to be a diva, or I don't want to be a bitch. That shit gets exhausting. But when you're like, I'm just me, and this is how I am, like, take it or leave it, but not in a smarmy, sarcastic way, but in a, perhaps we just aren't a fit, and that's okay. It frees you up to allow other people who are a fit to come into your world. Not everybody's going to like you, and that's okay. Do you like everyone? I know I sure as hell don't. And it's just like, when we stop being so attached to every comment, every nascent eye roll, everything that goes unsaid, and just be like, take it or leave it, say what we mean, and move on with our day, our life is so much more freeing. So if you go to my website, suzanneculberg.com/BBB, which stands for the Building Boundaries Bundle, it will have the description there. It will have the link to check it out. You can get just the bundle, or there's an optional upgrade for a one-on-one coaching session. So you can book yourself some accountability, and you can ask me questions. I personally am kind of lax when it comes to self-study things, because, as I said, there is no accountability. It just gathers digital dust. So if you do have the financial bandwidth to book the one-on-one session, I really encourage that. I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to hound you. It's totally up to you when, where, and how you book it. But I would encourage you to book it in immediately in the next week or two. If you need to reschedule, if something comes up, if you haven't finished it or whatever, you can reschedule a one-on-one session. You'll get an email from me with a confirmation, as long as it's more than 24 hours. The Building Boundaries Bundle teacher is going to model a boundary here. I have a 24-hour reschedule policy, and that is no matter what, because I can't be the arbiter of which reason is okay to allow that to slide through or not. So, if you need to reschedule it for whatever reason, or you think you're going to, you can log into your confirmation email, hit reschedule, be on my calendar, and reschedule that. It's all good. And let's have a look at places that you struggle to set boundaries, how to start doing that, and imagine what your life would be like 6 months now, 12 months from now, if you can say no and mean it. If you can say something, like, I'm the kind of person, if someone says to me, hey, Suze, you want to do this? And I'm like, I'd rather watch paint dry. I'm no longer like, oh my God, they're going to think all these things about me. They're like, that's just Suze. It's the way that I am. I don't have to be filtered. And I love living my life like that. And I'd love that for you too, to know that you can say what you mean without having to wrap it up in bubble wrap or tissue wrap, or be overly worried about how the people are going to be received. That's just the way that you are. So SuzanneCulberg.com/BBB, Building Boundaries Bundle. There's two options. There's just the self-study, or there's the self-study plus the upgrade as the one-on-one session. Pricing is all listed there. I do 100% believe in pricing transparency. So there's nothing where you have to scroll or whatever and find it. I just don't say it on the show because my prices do increase, and podcasts are forever. Like, at the time of recording this, it's 2023. Somebody messaged me just in the last 2 weeks about a podcast they heard me guest on back from 2020. So, you know, at the moment, I can tell you the course is a total steal. And yeah, if you want to check it out, I'd love to help you start to build your boundaries. And yeah, don't just buy it and have another thing that you're going to get to. Buy it, make some time to watch it, action it, because action is how we get better at things. You can't get good at what you don't do. And then if needed, book that accountability session and let's dive deep. There is no dumb questions. It's challenging in the beginning, but you can't get good at what you don't do. And when you don't know what you're doing, everything feels confusing and hard. Like, I'm just thinking, for me, anything in the back end of my website, I'm like, I have no clue. That's why I have support that I hire for that. So starting to have those conversations, if it was simple as just saying no, end of story, full stop, is a complete sentence, then you wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. So there is layers and levels to this, and I'd love to help you. Thank you for joining in. Hope to catch you on the next one. Bye for now.